Well, good afternoon, everybody. I think if everybody's ready, we'll go ahead and get started. It is my pleasure to call to order this meeting of the Nevada Youth Legislature. It's Tuesday, October 28th, 2 p.m. For the record, I'm Dave Byerman, Executive Director of the Nevada Youth Legislature and Secretary of the Senate. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to call the roll. Youth Legislator Asaf.
Here.
Youth Legislator Bickford.
Here.
Youth Legislator Fellows.
Here.
Youth Legislator Gong.
Thank you, Mr. Byerman. For the record, Senator Valerie Weiner, retired Chair of the Nevada Youth Legislature Foundation Board, here with two members, Zon Akudalim and Assemblyman Lynn Stewart, to experience the proceedings of the day. I want to let the youth legislators know that we had a very productive meeting yesterday. This program is in a very, very healthy position, and what was terrific is the meeting ran much longer than anticipated because there's so much good news about what's going on in the Nevada Youth Legislature. There's very strong support from the board for what you're doing and how you're growing in the program, and we look forward to the extraordinary things you're going to be doing. Also, regarding today, I want to tell you how excited I am about this process. This is a big day for the Nevada Youth Legislature.
So BDR 1 is Youth Legislator Eliza Fellows, reforms sex education to focus on what students need, provide a more comfortable learning environment for students, and allow for more parental involvement. Youth Legislator Fellows.
The topic that I chose for my proposal legislation is sex education. Sex education is one of the most debated topics today in both the Nevada State Legislature and in the nation. Our voices must be heard. Sex education impacts us, the students. We must have a voice in this important debate. Almost 1 year ago, I held a town hall meeting that was attended by over 40 students just like you and me. We were able to speak openly about the topic, and I believe we came up with some really good ideas. Ideas for sex education at school include the following. 1. Sex education in the classroom is important because many kids are unable to speak with their parents about sex at home. A take-home questionnaire can be utilized to encourage youth and their parents to have a discussion about these important matters at home. I have provided each of you with a copy of the take-home questionnaire.
Legislator Fellows, do you think because this is such a heated and talked about topic that you will have support from both sides of the aisle?
At my town hall meeting, I had both Patricia Farley and Marilyn Dondero Loop, and they are opponents, and they're running against each other for state senate, and they both put input into my town hall meeting because this is what we discussed at my town hall meeting, and as a group, this is what we came up with. Our second idea that we came up with was sex education should be taught separately to boys and girls because of the different impacts that sex has on each gender.
You may have some opposition in separating the class by gender, because I know that a current hot topic in the media is gender and absolving gender barriers and there being more than two genders. So how would you respond to that? Are you like the same with the abstinence? Are you very adamant about having two separate classes, or do you think that integrating all genders would be more of a way to expose them to this in a mature manner?
I think that parts are parts. So if you have boys' parts, you go with the boys. If you have girls' parts, you go with the girls. And it will become more comfortable for the students to talk about these things, and it will allow them to open up more and talk more about the topics.
And will transgender students be able to go with whatever gender they identify with?
Yes, whatever parts they have,
but
that's where they go.
Not biologically, but by how they identify themselves as. Would they be able to go with whichever gender they identify with? Not necessarily how they are biologically, but how they are mentally and who they believe that they are and who they present themselves as.
I think that, like I said before, parts are parts. If you have boys, like, we don't need to call it by gender, but if you have boys' parts, you go with the boys. If you have girls' parts, you go with the girls, because you have those things, and that's just who you are. That's your body, and you need to be taught how to keep yourself safe with those parts.
That makes sense. Thank you.
BDR1. So if you're separating by parts, will they only be learning about, if a boys are only learning about their boys' parts, so they're not going to learn about the girls and the boys' parts?
No, you will learn about both parts. It will just allow the students to be more open and more comfortable talking about it about when you're around people who have the same parts as you.
Okay, thank you.
Our third item was instruction should be given to students to prevent joking, harassment, and even bullying about sexual things. Nevada's anti-bullying laws should apply to sexual harassment. Our fourth thing was, in order to protect the religious freedoms of students, there should be no discussion about sexual behaviors. Sex education should be limited to discussion of only disease prevention and preventing unwanted pregnancy.
Legislator Fellows again. You say that it won't intrude on religious freedoms, but you also are saying you're going to teach other contraceptives, which I know kind of contradicts some religions.
I want to talk about in the curriculum disease prevention and preventing unwanted pregnancy. And we know that even with some religions, some people believe that abstinence is the only way, but other people do not. With was students should be taught that the best way to prevent disease and unwanted pregnancy is abstinence.
Youth Legislator Thompson, Youth Legislator Fellows. So will you be teaching other methods then, or will you just be teaching abstinence as the only method?
No, I will be teaching we will be teaching other methods, but just abstinence is the most efficient way.
Thank you.
Fellows, how do you intend to ensure that students who will not remain abstinent will still receive the education they need to make good decisions?
Well, I do believe that there are other ways to prevent disease and unwanted pregnancies other than abstinence, and I think we all know what those reasons are, but I want to discuss in sex education that the best way is abstinence. It's not the only way, but it is the best way.
So other methods of avoiding these issues, like contraceptives and being safe and using protection, will also be taught.
Yes.
But abstinency will just be presented as the best method.
Yes.
Okay.
This is a very important topic. If you've watched the news lately, you will know that this is one of the most hotly contested topics today, and it impacts us, the students. I repeat, our voices must be heard. Please help me make our opinions known to the Nevada Legislature. Thank you.
Chair of the Nevada Youth Legislature Foundation. Wow, what an experience. I want to congratulate all of you for such extraordinary participation in this process. I was sitting with Assemblyman Stewart, who's Vice Chair of our foundation. He was taking notes. He was so impressed, as we all are. You did your homework. You came up with innovative suggestions. You articulated exceedingly well. You responded to questions at an exemplary level. When this idea came forward in 2007, you're a dream come true. And I appreciate all of you for the level of participation and camaraderie and respect and insights that you brought to the table today, your wisdom, your passion, your authenticity. You make it such a joy to be part of this program, and I'm very excited to see what happens at the next meeting. So thank you all for being everything I could have hoped for in 2007 and so much more.